Slate?
Slating.
This is Grace Randolph from Beyond the Trailer.
Hello, Grace. How are you?
Hello. So researching this film, playing this character, did anything surprise you? What surprised you about the homeless situation?
My ignorance. I think I was more surprised by myself than I was the character. I feel like in our society today, I have the ability to really separate myself from other people's reality, and even more so, judge them for it. I would always pass homeless people and say, "Oh, why don't you, get yourself together? Why don't you get up and get a job or do something? There's always work somewhere, And then the more research I did, the more people I talked to and watched, I realized that it was more than just a problem of people not wanting to do better. It's, you never know what's going on in people's lives. You never know how people's situations are affecting them, And, you never know what's standing in people's way of moving forward or progressing. You see so many people that that lose a loved one and they're just stuck in that rut for the next few years. They just can't get past it. Or you see someone who think they had everything they wanted. That's when they lose it. That's when they're just stuck in that rut for the next few years. Or even simply, I'm from New Orleans, and then Katrina hit, and I realized more than half of my family was homeless. I mean, truly homeless.
Wow.
They didn't have clothes on their back. They didn't have a place to go.
Did you talk to them?
No, because it was a completely different story. But the fear and confusion and inability to find that next step, and we're talking about college-educated people, to find that next step was shocking to me, because I thought I knew what I would do, and then my house get washed away, and I go down to New Orleans, and I'm like, so now what?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You break another stereotype here. Your character is a Muslim, and what was it like for you and Paul? What motivated the decision to have a mosque fill the role that a church usually does in this story?
Well, I think that's 100% what Paul wrote in the story. And at the time, this was 4 or 5 years ago when he wrote the script. It wasn't as a heated topic as it is today, but with me, and one thing I brought up to Paul, and one reason that was so exciting and interesting to me was because that's a side of the spectrum we don't really know. I feel like this movie is all about things that we don't really know and enveloping them into our subculture so that we can learn about them. Being a Muslim is a beautiful culture. It's a culture and a religion that's based on love and understanding and compassion. And when I got this role and read more about Boko Haram and everything that was going on in West Africa and where Tahir came from, I was really surprised by how much I didn't know. I was really surprised by how much I thought I knew. And like I said, it was just another curtain of ignorance that was opened for me by having the opportunity to play this role.
And I have to ask, are you reading the current Sam Wilson Captain America comic?
I just got it yesterday.
Because he's fighting for people like you're playing in this movie.
Yeah, I just got it. I just got it yesterday. It's funny. I was in Pittsburgh shooting a movie, and it's funny. Everybody now is like, "Oh, I'm a comic book. I've been reading comic books all my life." And I was like, "That's funny," because every comic book store I knew went out of business.
Yeah.
So if everybody was reading comic books, I think they'd be biggest Barnes and Noble right now, right?
Yeah.
So I saw my first comic book store since I've been
to that Pittsburgh store. It's
the one downtown.
Yes.
So I'm walking by, I'm going to Subway, and I'm like, there's a comic book store. So I walk in, there's like 5 guys in there arguing about the origin of somebody in Batman, some random character in Batman, and
then you walk in,
and then I walk in. They're like, and then you have to, and literally flip their shit. And
I'm not surprised.
I was like, you have any Sam Wilson comic books? And the guy's like, yeah, I have all of them. I was like, I want 2 of each one you have.
Oh, that's great.
And all of them just run around collecting these comics. And they're like, look at this one, this is them. I'm like, all right, give it here. So I started reading from the beginning, and literally I'm just getting to the new series of Sam Wilson.
Well, it's so good and it's so proactive.
Yeah.
It's like really timely.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask, since he becomes Captain America in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
have you like tried on Chris's uniform just to see?
No, I couldn't fit Chris. I couldn't fit Chris's costume. We have different workout plans.
Oh, I see. Okay. Has there been any talk? Have you and Kevin Feige even had a conversation? Are you like, he's Captain America right now?
Not at all. I always see Kevin and I talk to him and I'm like, so Ant-Man went really well. And, I didn't tell anybody our secret. So if you need anybody in any other movie, let me know. I kind of fit into other universes because of my wings. And, so that was the only tidbit I dropped on Kevin.
Well, you should feel really great because Sam Wilson's becoming such a fantastic Captain America in his own right.
Yeah,
so it makes me
definitely.
even more excited for your character, who I already love.
Yeah, thank you.
So the last thing I want to ask you is that small movies like this are having a hard time at the box office lately because movies have become expensive and people have to make tough choices about what they're going to see. Why is it important that people sometimes choose the smaller movies like this as well as the blockbusters to pay to see it in theaters?
It's interesting. I feel like a lot of times with smaller movies, I love blockbuster movies. They're great for airplanes and movie theaters. I feel like movies like this, what's so important is there are no commercial breaks. There's no DVR pause. So when you leave the movie theater, you have your entire ride home to process and continue to think about the experience you just went through. Going to the movies used to be an experience. When you go, for me, it was the first time, you go to the movies. We used to have a little movie theater in New Orleans called The Pit, and it was $1. And, you could go and just see everything. And I remember every now and then they'd show an old classic movie. And I remember the first time I saw Gremlins in the movie theater. And it was, cold outside, and I was with my friends, and we were walking home, and we just, literally could not stop talking about this movie all the way home. And the next day at school, what we were doing? Talking about Gremlins, because it was so cool, even though it had been out for a year, And it's the experience of it. I feel like this movie will invoke a conversation. This movie will give you the opportunity to talk about things you won't normally talk about, or see things in your day-to-day life you won't normally see. And I think that's important. I think that's vital. I think, the movies are still a learning tool. They're still a self-adjusting tool. And we should use them for that. We should go see things that we wouldn't normally see because it makes us question ourselves.
Totally. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You really are a great interview.
Oh,